class and social slime, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one leaves countries, laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slide, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear, fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one leaves countries, lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again. Yeah.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV. I'm your host for the next 2 hours, and it's Turkey Day up north here. And the turkeys are trying to hide out, but we found them, and they're in the oven, and we're going to eat them. And it's going to be a hell of a good meal. So we're going over to my brother and sister-in-law's and have ourselves a nice dinner later this afternoon. Yes, it is a good day to go goose hunting. It's a beautiful day here. It's warming up a little bit, and leaves are turning, and it's beautiful. That's nature, right? But this fictional world we live in is not quite so pretty as nature, and we're being overrun by some very dangerous people. Now, I got a call last night right at the end of the show from I think it was Faye out in Calgary, I think it was, and she's a little bit concerned about this Professor Hall out of Lethbridge, Alberta, who has been turfed out of the university after 20-year tenure, and it all has to do with something that was put on his Facebook site by somebody regarding Israel and the Jews, and that has stirred up some problems for him. And B'nai B'rith, which is basically the ADL, have come at him. And they're the ones that instigated his removal from the university. So I tried to get a hold of him last night after the show. Didn't make it. I did get a hold of him this morning, a little while ago. And he's on the road right now. And so we had a chat, passed a bit of information back and forth. And hopefully he'll be a guest on the show Tuesday or Thursday. We'll get that arranged. So we'll look into that a little bit deeper. Now, typical CBC, our Communist Broadcasting Corporation here in Canada, is I saw a piece last night. Actually, somebody sent it to me last night. So I took a look at it, and this is typical CBC garbage. People think it's, the Canadian broadcasting system. Well, it is the Canadian broadcasting system. The problem is Canada's a corporation, so it's the propaganda arm of the media that we pay for. And people go, well, that's our Canadian broadcasting system. Well, you better understand what Canada is. So this is just a propaganda machine. And so the B'nai B'rith calls for removal of professor. This is from, it says here, a Jewish advocacy group is calling for the removal of tenured professor at the University of Lethbridge over his controversial views. Ryan Belrose from B'nai B'rith, Canada, joins us to discuss the issue. Now, he makes a point, this Ryan makes a point that he's not a Jew. And that, while it's the B'nai B'rith is full of Jews, is created by Jews, he himself is not a Jew. And this is not just a Jewish issue, it's a Canadian issue. And that we can't have people like Hall allowing people to post something on his Facebook, which he didn't write, but they're saying that it was his responsibility to remove it. Well, when people post on my site, I'm busy. I don't scan anything. I'm a firm believer. Say what you mean what you say. And if people don't like it, they can just walk away. But we have these Jewish Zionist idiots who want their world government because the B'nai B'rith is, I'll put that link in there too, is found in the League of Nations search engine, and they specifically are pushing for world government, which is the whole plan behind Israel and the United Nations. So they don't want anybody saying boo. So they come down on this guy, managed to get him removed from his tenured position of 20 years at the Lethbridge University. And they want to take him to the human rights because, as Ryan says in his interview, this is a human rights issue. Well, human isn't a man, okay? Human is a persona. Human is a fiction, okay? So it's not a human rights issue. Well, maybe it is. It's a fictional issue, though. It's not a real issue. Because you have every right to say whatever the hell's on your mind to whoever you want to say it to, and if they don't like it, they can split. Hit the road, Jack. This is not kindergarten, and this is where they've kept us in kindergarten, and these are the hall monitors, I suppose. Now, Morris Strong was a member of this B'nai B'rith as well, and he's also, the whole idea of using the environmental movement was to push world government. And he's not a Jew either. He's actually a Canadian, and thankfully he's dead. And I can't wait for Rockefeller and Brzezinski and Soros and the Clintons and the Bushes and the Trudeaus and all the rest of these people just to pack it up and get the hell off the earth. Now, I'm not advocating their murders. I'm just hoping that they just go away. Maybe they'd be like the first group to go and populate Mars or something, because they are of no use to the people here on the planet. They're detrimental to the health, welfare, well-being of the people on Earth, and they need to be housed somewhere for their own and our safety. Anyways, I'm going to put this in the chat. You can listen to this. Now, Hall is not on this. They play a bit of recording of his, but we'll stick that in there. And now I also find that I found another problem here. This is we are really gone backwards again. They pulled some old templates out right now, the Jew template has always been front and center, but the Jew template. Oh, I got somebody calling in here. Just a minute. Good morning, or afternoon, I guess, depending where you're at. Hello, have I got, listener? Hello? Well, we'll give that a minute and see if it hooks up. Oh, I've lost the call. Okay, not a problem. Where was I at here? So we have this problem out in Alberta of the Jewish contingent getting their panties in a knot, and in Toronto we have a problem with the mayor of Mississauga. Now, Hazel McCallion was the mayor of Toronto for about 100 million years. I mean, this woman was, I don't know, she's 90-something when she gave up being the mayor of Toronto, and everybody loved her to death. And I actually had a lot of respect for her back in the 70s. I mean, she was a mayor in the 70s, and she was a mayor up to, I think, a couple of years ago. That's a long run. And, she was always praised as being this great mayor. Well, then I find out she was a runner-up for Global Mayor of the Year, and that she's pushing the global agenda. And about this high-density housing, she says, there's clips of hers, and never use the word density, right? Use infill or words like that because, we don't want people looking at what the hell we're up to. So this woman, who was an absolute player her entire career as mayor, pushing the global agenda without anybody really knowing about it. Well, we know about it now. We know what these clowns are up to. The enemy is inside the gates. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Go back and read Cicero from 42 BC. There's a BC or AD, whatever. That the enemy's inside the gates. It was inside the gates then. It's still inside the gates. But they're not pointing guns at you, so you don't notice them. He says to the effect that, they look like us, they sound like us, they dress like us. But they work in the shadows, basically. They fill the halls of government, and that's what they've done. This is a complete fraud against the people. So anyways, the Mississauga mayor files a hate crime complaint after an inflammatory article. Bonnie Crosby says local web publication crossed the line with an article headlined, "Bonnie's Muslims are molesting teenage girls in Mississauga high schools." Now this has got Bonnie's butt in a knot, or her panties in a knot. The problem is that it's absolutely true. We are being flooded with Muslims. Why? Simple. Sharia law. And the plan is to fill our legislatures with Islamic factions. And once it's filled, what does the legislature do? The legislature writes law. And the plan is to fill the legislatures full of Muslims. Plain and simple. And it's already starting to fill up. The mayor of Calgary is a Muslim. The mayor of London, England is a Muslim. We've got Sikhs in that running our military. We have a lady who has been proven liar now, who is in the cabinet, the federal cabinet, who is a Muslim. I can't keep saying this enough, people. You can't sit there and discuss this shit. You have got to get involved. And that means you have got to get control of your municipal councils, which are your city councils, your town councils. You got to get a hold of them. Because if you don't get a hold of them, they're going to get a hold of them. They get a hold of them, then we got problems. Huge problems. Anyways, Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie says she has filed a hate crime complaint. This is the same thing that's going on out in Alberta. The hate crime complaint with Peel Police after a local website published an article claiming the mayor is trying to convert the city to Islam so that they can kill her son for being gay. Now, why they said that, I don't know, but it doesn't matter to me. The article published by the Mississauga Gazette on Friday also claims that Crombie won't rest until all girls in Mississauga are victims of rich rapists, describing the actions of Muslim boys in Mississauga high schools, claiming they are assaulting girls. Racism and flat-out lies have no place in Mississauga, Crombie said on Saturday. Well, let's go back here. Racism and flat-out lies have no place in Mississauga. Well, this is racism against the white people. And what's going on in the councils across this nation, across all Western nations, are flat-out lies. So she's saying racism and flat-out lies have no place in Mississauga. Good. So disband your council and put some people in there that get it, or at least are on enough to say what's going on here. I was very disturbed. I've sent the article to the Peel Police, which, by the way, doesn't have a very good reputation in its own. The Peel Regional Police do not have a good reputation. Sent the article to the Peel Police to paint any group like this based on religion or ethnicity or anything is reprehensible. But it's not reprehensible. It's the truth. Why are we getting this migration of Muslims? Simple. It's part of the plan. Bonnie knows it's part of the plan. The police know it's part of the plan. The federal government knows it's part of the plan. And yes, it is reprehensible. And Bonnie, you ought to be put behind bars. Plain and simple. Because you are a threat to the people of your city. You are a threat to the people of this country. You, my dear Bonnie, the mayor of Mississauga, is the real criminal. And the police are aiding and abetting your criminal ways. But then their job is to protect your ass. Crombie said she has also contacted her own lawyer to address what she believes is a libel against her. The article listed author is Acton Michaels, identified as the Gazette's editor-in-chief. He did not respond to the Star. A man who confirmed to the Star that he's the webmaster and co-owner of the Gazette said that though he might have posted the article, he's not responsible for it. I'm responsible for the stuff I write. Everybody else, I just put up the content, says Kevin Johnson. Now, this is kind of like the same thing that's going on in Lethbridge with Professor Hall. Some guy posted something on his Facebook page. Hall didn't post it. And here, this guy didn't write it. Okay? So they're going after the people who actually didn't write either article. And making them responsible for it. Johnson said his recollection is that he launched the publication in 2014, according to the website, which features numerous ads promoting restaurant sports league developers and at least one of Canada's major banks. The Mississauga Gazette has 13 people working for it, including Johnson and Michaels. Asked if he will remove the article from the website, Johnson said, if I'm instructed by a court of law with my name on the court order to remove something, I will. He also said it will be removed if one of the website's investors, co-owners, asked him to do so. Asked if it would be removed for any possible legal issue, he responded, would I do it because you're suggesting that some article that was placed on a website should come down because Bonnie thinks it should? No, I wouldn't do that. Last year, Crombie publicly criticized Johnson during a council meeting after he spread literature about Muslim community while advocating against the construction of a proposed new mosque. The Crombie city staff and all but one councillor supported the mosque's construction, which was approved. After the Gazette's article publication, Johnson said that the Muslim community is the only community that Crombie is doing anything for. I mean, come on, we have Islamic Heritage Month now in Ontario for the entire month of October. I take issue with that. Well, damn straight, so do I take issue with it. And everybody in this country ought to be taking issue with it, not just those people in Ontario. In fact, everybody in the West ought to be taking issue with it. That October has been designated Muslim month, or Islamic Heritage Month, in Ontario. Since being elected in 2014, Crombie has helped organize an effort to raise $5 million to settle Syrian refugees, championed the new mosque construction, and last month led a push for a citywide parking exemption to accommodate celebrations for Eid I can't say this, a significant Islamic holy day. Okay? Now, everybody ought to be having a problem with this. But most people have been taught that we have to embrace multiculturalism. Well, where the hell did multiculturalism come from? Well, it came from the Jews. And they say they're the ones that kicked it up. And what is the purpose of multiculturalism? It's genocide. That's the purpose of it, is to genocide the society. Not in a bloodbath, but to destroy the society that is there, just like they did with the natives. Okay, they pulled the natives from their families, they threw the kids into the schools, they jammed shit in their head that had nothing whatsoever to do with the native community. They killed a gazillion of them. But the idea was to genocide the society, basically erase what was, and that's what they're doing here. Now, I have no use for churches. I'm really pissed at the Christians for being so easily stupefied. Some of the dumbest people on the planet are running around calling themselves Christians. They don't have a clue what they're even talking about. They got the preachers there who are there specifically to manipulate their thought processes, to put suggestions in their head, which is evil, and to hypnotize them into believing things that are absolutely untrue. That's their job. It's the same job as the teachers in the schools. And now we have the cities, our cities, telling us that we must roll over to this invasion that is taking place right in front of our eyes. And people go, well, you can't talk like that. You'll get in trouble. Right? You are in trouble, people. You're so deep in trouble, you're drowning in the shit. But you can't realize what's going on right in front of your frickin' faces. And that's sad. Anyways, the article published Friday includes the headline, Bonnie's Muslims are molesting teenage girls in Mississauga high schools. It claims that Michael was told by the father of a grade 10 student at Rick Hansen Secondary School that she's been routinely assaulted by Muslim boys there. The article claims that the school has refused to comment and that such incidents involving Muslim boys are common in Mississauga high schools. Cara Pereira, manager of communications for the Peel District School Board, which includes Rick Hansen Secondary, told the Star Saturday that the school's principal and vice principals have never heard of any of the allegations in the article before. Regarding the Gazette's article, claimed that the school has refused to comment. Pereira said they did not call the school for a comment. She said the alleged behavior by male Muslim students is not anything we're seeing in our schools. The National Council of Canadian Muslims, an advocacy group based in Ottawa, described the article as an act of hate. The writer of this screed should certainly be investigated by the authorities for promoting hatred and potentially inciting violence, as he clearly calls on people to take the law into their own hands, which could be interpreted in a number of dangerous ways, said spokesman Almira Eglawabi. Crombie said it's not the attacks on her she's most disturbed by, it's the article's attacks on her family as well as the entire Muslim community. Even though the attacks against me need to be dealt with, attacking my family is way out of bounds. And ever since the mosque debate, the Muslim community has taken the high road. But this has crossed the line. The Gazette also features advertisements for 3 Mississauga city councilors, Chris Francesca, Jim Tovey, and Pat Sato, all said they had no idea the publication was running ads for them on the website and that it was done without their authorization. I'm disgusted, Tovey said after seeing the article, adding, "It's just awful. It's just freaking awful." He said he will contact his lawyer about the matter. Fine, you go ahead and contact your lawyer. Let's get this show into the courts. Let's get the show going. This guy with this Mississauga Gazette, my hat is off to him. We have to get in their faces. We have to get in their faces. And these guys are getting in their faces. And that's why I'm a real advocate of local newspapers. Because your local newspapers that are presently running are pushing the agenda. They're pushing the globalist agenda down the people's throats. The people they don't look anything up. They don't check anything out. They read what they read. They believe what they read. They may grumble about it a little bit, but it's not going to be anything they're going to stand up and push back at. Because they don't have any information. And that's why starting a local rag in your local community, if you can pull it off, get it done. There's, we have to push back. So I'm quite pleased that Bonnie has her panties in a knot. Because done correctly, Bonnie will hang herself. The other counselors, all but the one who voted against the mosque, will hang themselves. Figuratively. Because they're coming out swinging now, saying you can't say this, you can't say that, all Muslims are good. They're here because they're great people, not because that we are trying to get them here so that we can take this place over, so we can hand it over to the globalists. These people are guilty of treason because they're deceivers and deception is treason. And there isn't any city council anywhere in the West that is not guilty of treason. It's that simple. Because they're using deception, suggestion, deceit to push this agenda, which is designed specifically to destroy the society that was here. And if it happens, you can't bitch at Bonnie. Bonnie's doing what Bonnie's told to do. It's our fault. It will always be our fault for allowing it to happen. So I'm really pleased that I'm absolutely ecstatic that they threw Anthony Hall out of the University of Lethbridge. I'm absolutely ecstatic that Bonnie's got her panties in a knot. I think this is a great Thanksgiving weekend so far. I have tried to get hauled up in front of the human rights. I haven't been able to do it yet. I've been threatened with lawsuits, but that was actually from the worst one I got was from a population group, depopulation group, and I kind of let them have it, and I was therefore threatened with a lawsuit, and I told them to bring it on. Let's go. Let's go. You want to sue me? Let's get at it. Okay? Because then we can get it out in the open. but they backed off. Because they know what they're doing. They know I know what they're doing, and the last place they want to end up with is in a courtroom where we can open it up a little more. Now, I'm tired of people being fearful. There's no room for fear. Fear is for losers. Fear is for the weak. Fear is for the beaten. You know, and I was bitching about this last night, you know, America, home of the brave and the free, or free and the brave, however that thing works. Well, I look at America and I worked down there for several months. I don't see any free and I don't see any brave. I see a lot of propaganda flying around, but I don't see any free and I don't see any brave. Because if you were free and you were brave, you wouldn't put up with what's going on in your nation. So we got to step it up. We got to get up to the plate. $100. That's about what it costs to run in an election. Now, you can't represent the people if you run an election, but we have to change that. Because when you run an election, here we take an oath to the Queen Crown Corporation. In the States, you take an oath to the state. Nobody's representing the people here. It's all fictional. So we need to get a hold of these city councils, and then we have to make a new declaration, and we have to make a new oath, that the oath that we serve the people, not the state. And the only way we can do that is if the people step up and do it. Because if you are elected and you don't take the oath to the corporation, which is the state, which is the crown, if you don't take an oath to the corporation, you can't take your place. Now, how ass backwards is that? People run all the time, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I want to make this a better country for the people. Bullshit. Anybody that's running that mentions anything about people and representation is a liar. Because they cannot represent the people. Because they don't take an oath to represent the people. They take an oath to subvert the people, to subject the people, to harm the people. And who's running the show really? The lawyers. Who writes all the crap that comes through the legislature? The lawyers. And what do they write it in? Legalese. And what is legalese? It's a jargon used to deceive and gain advantage. So it's all a fraud. So if you want peace and you want freedom, if you really, truly want freedom and peace, then you best step up to the plate. And if you're not prepared to step up to the plate, then shut up. Because you get what you deserve. And I'd hate to think that the West, that these land masses of people and our forefathers who busted this open for a better life, to get out from the tyranny that they left, have let it all slip away. It's very disheartening to think that. Very, very sad indeed. Maybe what we should do is do like Les Nessman. And what the hell was it? What is the name of that movie? Not the movie, the show. Something Cincinnati. The radio station in Cincinnati with Les Nessman. Hello, listen to Les Nessman. When he did the Thanksgiving there, and they dropped the live turkeys out of the helicopters. And it kind of freaked Les out because he was a reporter, and it was like the Hindenburg thing. Oh my God, the humanity! Turkeys are hitting the ground like wet cement. Maybe what we ought to do, and we can't do it here, we'll have to book this next year in Canada because today's already Turkey Day. Maybe we can whip this up by November when Thanksgiving is in the States. And instead of dropping live turkeys out of the helicopter, we ought to load the helicopters up with frozen turkeys and fly over your city halls and start dropping frozen turkeys, possibly through the roofs of your state houses and your local council buildings. Maybe that would send a message, because everybody that's in these positions of power are turkeys. And they go in these legislatures and they go gobble, 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 gobble. And then the lawyers write the gobble, 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 gobble. And then some asshole comes up to you with a piece of paper and says, you can't do this. Why? Because they legislate gobble, 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 gobble. So maybe it's time we just start dropping frozen turkeys on these idiots. It's a thought. I don't think there's any legislation ever been written that you can't drop frozen turkeys. You can't bomb them because you get a ticket. You can't shoot them at them because you get a ticket. But I'm not sure, but I don't think there's any law against dropping frozen turkeys out of a helicopter. Could be accident. You know. We were just flying over the city hall, and damn if the doors didn't break open and, well, a bunch of turkeys fell out. You call that an accident. We got to get in their faces, and we got to try to have some fun at it too, right? There's nothing better than watching these weasels wiggle. I mean, you stand in front of a council meeting and you start talking to these clowns, and you know what you're talking about, and they know you know what they're talking about, and they know you know that they got them pinned. You want to watch them weasels squirm. Probably some of the best entertainment you will ever get, and it's free. You phone up your city hall, you say, I'd like to book a delegation. They give you 5-10 minutes to speak. You go up there and you speak and watch their eyes. And the point is, one going in there and speaking, they can blow it off. Two going in there speaking, then maybe they can slough it off. You get 10, 15 people standing up at each council meeting, lay it on them. The people will understand that the one speaking is not a hothead. The one speaking is not a conspiracy theory, because there's not one speaking anymore. There's 15 of yous at every freaking council meeting lining up at the podium. You've got to get the word out in your local neighborhood. And you got to get in the face of these weasels. Or turkeys. This is our land. And I know some people say, what do you mean it's our land? Didn't we wipe out the Indians? I didn't wipe out anybody. The settlers didn't wipe out anybody. The corporation wiped them out. Just like the corporation is wiping your ass off the map now. Just like that native woman I spoke to when I asked her if she understood the plan for Whitey. She just looked at me and nodded her head. So why do you get it so easy and Whitey just seems to be stupid as a box of rocks? Simple, she said. We lived through it. Now it's your turn. If that don't wake people up, I don't know what the hell will. But you better wake up soon. Real soon. Now, I was going to talk about, let me go back here for a second. This is all just the same old templates being pulled out again. Oh, wait a minute. Where did I see that? This is important. Back to 1970s. This is where we are. We're back in the 70s again. And I know we're back in the 70s again because when I went in the store, I seen the clothing's changing again. And it's changing back to, we went through a stage here for a while where people were wearing tie-dye shirts again and so on and so forth. And now the clothing's changed back to, see, if you live long enough, right, you get to go through all of this stuff. What is old is new again, right? And you can, if you run on 30, 40-year cycles, the same shit keeps coming. You know, they say history repeats itself. Of course it repeats itself because it's time to pull the template off the shelf again. So in the 70s, we had, you know, it was the beginning, real push, 1970, first Earth Day, 1972, the first summit on the human environment. And then 20 years later, Rio and Agenda 21. 20 years later, Rio plus 20. In the 70s, when I was a reporter in Calgary, Alberta, it was, we had gas shortages. And we had the same nonsense about, well, that's always been around. You can't speak ill of the Jews or Israel or anything. So here we now have back to the hate crimes again. And here we have rolling gas shortages could stymie Thanksgiving travel plans for Ontarians. A lot of gas stations going forward are going to have to scramble to get their gasoline, fuel experts say. Now, in the 70s, it was Saudis, that it was the Middle East that was holding us hostage, and we had to become energy self-sufficient. That was the first run at renewable energy. Back then in the 70s. That's why we needed renewable energy, not to save the environment. We needed renewable energy in order to be energy self-sufficient and not be held hostage by the Saudis. That was the purpose back then of the push for renewable energy. It had nothing to do with saving the planet. But this stuff changes through time. The propaganda changes. Anyway, so here's a sign, out of fuel. This station is temporarily out of fuel. Please ask an attendant for the nearest Esso station that can serve you. We apologize for any inconvenience. It is one of the busiest weekends of the year, but Ontario is running low on fuel. Well, Canada, which is the second largest land mass on the planet, has less population than the state of California. I mean, you can drop California into Canada and you probably have to get a map to find it because it'll be hidden somewhere. This is a humongous country and bigger than China. China has, what, 1.2 billion people? And they seem to have enough fuel to manufacture most of the goods on the planet. And we have 34 million people, and apparently we can't get fuel in our vehicles. What the hell's with that? Meanwhile, we're putting a Ling station to ship our natural gas to the east. Our coal's going to the east. Australians can't use coal, but it's all being shipped to China to fuel their 500 coal plants that is built over the last 10 years for cheap energy to augment their cheap labor. So with 1.2 billion people in China and 34 million people in Canada, we somehow are out of fuel. Whoa, how is that possible? Well, it's not, of course. But they've driven this sustainable bullshit down everybody's throat here, and people are so stupid here. It really does hurt my feelings, actually. Anyways, it's one of the busiest weekends of the year, but Ontario is running low on fuel thanks to repair on major pipelines, and the shortage could last beyond Thanksgiving Monday. The shortage stems from repairs to the Trans-Canada Northern Pipeline ordered by the National Energy Board. Now, if I look up the National Energy Board, I would think that I'm going to find that the National Energy Board is a arm's-length board. While it was legislated into existence, I'm sure I will find that the federal government cannot tell the National Energy Board what to do. And this was all laid out. These boards and stuff were all laid out in that book that was written by that Chief Justice in 1929 called The New Despotism. And if you haven't read it or looked at it, go get it. It's online. Get the PDF and read the damn thing. He warned us in 1929 that this was already beginning to take place in Canada, and we had to stop it in England. Because if it's allowed to go forward, and this all basically comes from France, which comes through Rome, that these are unreachable boards and commissions and agencies legislated into existence, but the very governments that legislated them into existence cannot tell them what to do. And I'm sure I will find that if I go look up National Energy Board, it will be the same as the Ontario Energy Board, where the Premier of the province and the Minister of Energy can only make suggestions to the board. The board does not have to listen to the Premier, does not have to listen to the Minister of Energy. And the Energy Board basically runs the show. The Energy Board in Ontario sets the prices. Not the Ministry of Energy doesn't set the prices. The board sets the prices, but the board's outside the reach of the ministry. Anyway, so this is ordered by the National Energy Board, which called for a further 10% restriction to the pipeline's total pressure. And that's causing the pressure to build for drivers counting on gassing up at the pump for weekend travel. What do they want you to do? They want you to get on their light rail transit systems that they're building. Okay, the idea, if you go to the Rockefeller Foundation, and he says it very specifically, anything that helps get people out of private automobiles. And he was referring that time, what he was referring to was the walk score that started showing up on real estate listings here. And when I looked that up, I came across, it came through the Rockefeller Foundation, because it was the Rockefeller Foundation who funded this walk score that was going into the real estate listings. And he said right there, he funded it because he'll fund anything that helps get people out of their private automobiles. And that's the game. What's not sustainable? Private vehicles, private homes, air conditioning, yada, 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 and all the rest of this nonsense. Golf courses aren't sustainable. Anyways, Boris Bemo is one of them. He stopped off at his local Esso on Friday to top up his 59 Cadillac Coupe de Ville ahead of his trip to the cottage, only to find its pumps were empty. He says, I guess I'll just have to drive around to get something. I'm hoping we'll find some gas, otherwise I'll have to push this thing. The National Energy Board says the order comes in response. Now, this is important. This is important. The National Energy Board says the order comes in response to pipeline releases and overpressure incidents that occurred when? In 2009 and 2010. Well, that's almost 7 years ago, which the Trans-Northern Pipeline has yet to fully address. So it really isn't a problem. If it was really a problem, it would not have been allowed to be for a better part of 7 years. okay? None of the incidents posed safety concerns to the public or the environment, the board says, but the order is in place until the pipeline implements a longer-term solution, whatever that may be, which will be a continued lower pressure, a continued lesser delivery, and as the lines age, then it will go down and down and down and down and down and down until it gets damn difficult and the price of fuel goes through the ceiling and people are pressured into giving up their private transportation and getting on the light transit. The idea is to lock people down, and this guy was going in his Cadillac to the cottage, but the idea is they don't want you to have a cottage. Cottages out in around the lakes where the moose and the antelope play, and the deer and the ducks and everything else, and they wish to rewild all of that, so they want to make it impossible for you to get to the damn cottage because the light rail transit ain't going to take you to the cottage. And you're going to be stuck in the city, just like it says in the UN documents, and they're going to just keep locking your ass down, and then they're going to make you real sick. Anyways, in an email to CBC News this week, a public relations firm for the pipeline said it's working to make sure it meets all regulatory requirements, but can't speculate about the impact the work will have on supply at the pumps. Wait a minute, you can't speculate. You know you're doing the work. You run the pipelines. You understand the pipelines, but you can't speculate on this. Why is that? I mean, we have scientists who can suggest that if it hits 2 degrees centigrade above the whatever temperature they picked, that the whole world is going to implode upon itself and all life will cease to exist on the planet. Now, the scientists seem to be able to do that, but you can't speculate on your own lines. Why don't I buy that? Transnorthern will continue to be vigilant in its monitoring and maintenance activities, including operating below approved pressure ranges until we are confident the pipelines can return to full capacity, said Jackie Morendos of Hill and Knowlton Strategies. The company operates approximately 915 kilometers of pipeline that supplies gasoline, jet fuel, and fuel oil from refineries in Ontario and Quebec across Montreal and the Greater Toronto Area. In the meantime, fuel expert Dan Mateague of GasBuddy.com predicts rolling shortages from Ottawa to Sudbury to Hamilton. A lot of gas stations going forward are going to have to scramble to get their gasoline. It won't be everyone at the same time, but this could go on for several weeks. Mateague doesn't think the shortage will translate into price increases, but they will likely cause inconvenience for customers. You may go to your favorite gas station and find that the pumps are no longer selling gasoline. They'll probably stick in a electric charging station for the electric car you don't have and probably don't really want, but they're going to shove you that way. And back again in the 70s during the oil crisis, and it was a phony crisis, just like this is a phony crisis. What were they pushing? Electric cars. What are they pushing today? Electric cars. What were they pushing then? Renewable energy. What are they pushing now? Renewable energy. Well, geez, does history repeat or what? It freaks me out that people just keep just rolling along with this crap and never seem to get anything. So fuel prices, gasoline up 2.1 cents, while diesel jumps 14.2 cents. Now, the diesel used to be quite cheap compared to gasoline. Then they shoved diesel up basically even with gasoline, which really drove up the price of the products. Which was one of the reasons that a lot of our manufacturing went to China. Drivers across Newfoundland and Labrador will be paying a little more at the pumps this week, while those who use diesel on the island can expect to pay much more. The Public Utilities Board, another board, increased the maximum price of gas by 2.1 cents per liter this week, which means the most service station charge will be $1.31 a liter for self-serve. That same liter of gas costs more than $1.48 in Cartwright. Diesel drivers will be paying significantly more this week, with prices jumping 14.2 cents. The board says the seasonal change in the diesel composition for the colder weather kicks in this week. Furnace oil heating fuel is up $1.59, and stove oil has risen by 3.82 cents per liter, while propane and heating unchanged from last week. So this is Newfoundland and Labrador, right? Now they want to rewild that badly. And how do you push people out? You just keep taking out of their pockets. You take their discretionary income out of their pockets, and one of the great ways to do it is through fuel prices, either for heating or transportation. Because their goods to move their goods into Newfoundland and Labrador just went up 14.8 cents a liter for diesel, and that's what's running the trucks to deliver your goods. So, of course, your goods are all going to go up in price. And they're just basically going to starve these people out of the province and shove them down into other provinces or other cities. They want the people out of the rural areas completely, and the more they can make it inconvenient for people, then eventually they give up and they move out. And then the rewilding process takes place. These are our lands. These lands, I keep saying this, don't belong to these boards. They don't belong to these stupid politicians. They don't belong to these lawyers. But we just keep rolling over to them. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What can we do? They got us locked down. What are you going to do? Do something would be a good start. Quit saying, what are we going to do? Quit saying we can't do anything. Can't saying they'll just do whatever they want to do to us. I mean, I don't even know how people let that shit out of their mouth, but I hear it every day. Oh, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We'll best do something. Time to do something. Now, they're going to bring a lot of sickness in here as well. The more of these immigrants they bring in. And I'm not a white supremacist, okay? I'm just a logical thinker. And I understand what the game is. And it isn't about multiculturalism, it's about genocide. That's what it's about. The people don't have anywhere to go. Well, we bombed the snot out of them. Why did we bomb the snot out of them? So they had to migrate. Why did we do that? Because we want to genocide the West. None of this stuff happens by accident. It's all planned. So we need to pick up the pace. I don't understand, if I, sometimes I think, what would I be if I was a cop? What would I be saying to my fellow officers? How long would I be allowed to stay in the police force before I got turfed out? It's the same thing with the teachers, I finally got one teacher from Ottawa on the show. He was happy about it. He said he made a decision, which would have been tough for him to do, but after the show, he said, I made a decision. I'm glad I did the show and I made a decision. I'm not going to lie to the children anymore. That's a huge step. Most of the teachers I talk to are scared to death to say anything, because they're worried about not getting their pensions. So they're prepared to lie to the children their entire careers in order to get that paycheck and that pension. Meanwhile, the teachers' unions are big investors in tobacco and oil. But we shouldn't look at that. And these teachers are prepared to tell these children anything they're told to tell these children to get that paycheck and that. And that's disgusting. And if you're a teacher and you're listening to this, you best go look in the mirror. And you best start asking yourself some questions. And you either better get the hell out of the system or you better start speaking up. You cannot justify what it is you do. There is no possible way that you can justify what it is you're teaching the children. You can't do it. So either you start teaching the children some reality. Well, you have to, because I don't even want you to bow out. I don't want you to quit your job. Because they'll just fill it with somebody else who's going to tell the children whatever they're told to tell the children. No, you need to dig your heels in a little bit. Start out slow if you have to. Start encouraging children not to believe what you're telling them, but to go do some research. You know, you can tell the children, look, I'm bound to teach you this stuff. But I can't tell you what I'm teaching you is the truth. So this is what I'm told to teach you. Now I want you to go and research and investigate and find out for yourself if what I'm being forced to teach you is actually true or not. Maybe that's a way for the teachers to get after this. But people can't justify what they're doing out there. You know, when I talked to the senior policy advisor for the Ministry of Energy, and he agreed wholeheartedly with everything I had to say. He said my numbers were bang on. What needed to be done to bring this electrical system up to snuff and make it affordable and reliable and as clean as you can possibly make a system. He said that everything I laid on him was absolutely correct. My numbers were perfect. And I asked him why we're not doing that then. He said, what you described to me is solid engineering. What's being implemented is called politics. Well, politics doesn't know how to run an energy system. Politics doesn't know how to build an energy system. Politics doesn't know how to cost an energy system. And all of our politics are coming from overseas. And it's costing us. And it's driving us in the ground. And it's picking our pockets. But you know, I talked to that same engineer. Is he prepared to stand up and say what he said to me on the phone? I check him out every now and again, and there he is, you know, flogging away at this renewable energy and that, even though he disagrees with it 100%, that it's a fraud, that it's politics, not engineering. When I had that meeting with those engineers, I said, do you not understand this is all a fraud? Of course we know it's a fraud. Then why don't you stand up and say something? You're worried about your pensions, aren't you? Well, yeah. So you're prepared to cut your own throats and the throats of everybody else in this nation for this magical pension, which, by the way, you ain't ever going to get your hands on. And if you do get it on, it ain't going to last long. Because they drive us into the ground, the government's going to need the money. And they're going to take it from you, and they're going to offer you guaranteed income. A little box by the railway tracks, and thank you for your stupidity and never standing up. Because had you stood up, we'd have never got away with this. But you didn't have the balls to stand up, you fearful little children. and you got what you deserve. You're living in a box by a frickin' light rail transit system. Salute. Now, I just got this sent to me, and it says, can it get any stupider? Maybe yes, maybe no. It says here that robot baby unveiled in Japan as birth rates plummet. An antidote to Japan's rapidly falling birth rate may soon come in an unlikely form of a miniature robot. The Kurobo Mini was unveiled Monday by Toyota as part of the automaker's Heart Project, which aims to provide a cuddlesome robot baby companion for humans. The unveiling of the robot comes as Japanese adults increasingly find themselves childless as the country's population continues to shrink. Between 20 and 2015, the world's population grew by almost 500 million, while Japan's population fell by almost 1 million. This is unprecedented for a country not affected by war, famine, or plague. Toyota Heart is a unique project that explores the development of meaningful communication between humans and robots, a spokesman for Toyota tells Newsweek. The program has been created with the assumption of having a conversation with young children. In other words, the Kurobo Mini has been created with the image of a young child in mind, and since it sometimes remembers what it and the user talked about, like preferences and hobbies, it can actually grow. Promotional videos released as part of the Robo's launch show it interacting with children, congratulating them on their achievements. In one clip, the miniature robot says in a squeaky voice, "Don't leave me here," when its owner tries to exit a vehicle without it. "Don't leave me here." As you live together, you will come to love and be kind towards the Kurobo Mini, just as it does for you, one video states. Whether you are sad or happy, it will always be together with you. Toyota describes it as a partner that you can carve out your future together with. The Kurobo Mini is an electronic ancestor of the Kurobo robot, which gained international attention after becoming the first ever humanoid robot astronaut. The original Kurobo was developed as part of the Kurobo Robot project set up in Japan in 2012 in an attempt to better understand the relationships between robots and human. The Kurobo Mini is set to be launched across Japan in 2017, priced at 39,800 yen, which is $392 American. So, and you don't have to feed it, huh? And you don't have to get it, but you never know. You never know. I was going to say you won't have to pay for college or university tuition, but you never know. As they work on these robots, I'm sure that people will want them to go to school and interplay with the other children. And as they grow, they will probably want their robo child to go to college. So I wouldn't be surprised if these idiots would actually go take out a loan for to send the robot to university. You don't want really stupid robots around, right? You want your robot to do the best it can. My little robo, he's a lawyer now. He's a judge. He's a politician. The new Prime Minister of Tokyo, let's hear it for Little Robo. Don't leave me here. Don't leave me here. If you leave me here in the car with the windows rolled up, I'll probably suffocate. Don't leave me here. Oh my God, we left Little Robo in the car. What are we going to do? Smash the window! Couple arrested in Japan as they left Little Robo in the car with the windows up on a hot day, even though Little Robo was pleading. Don't leave me here. Don't leave me here. And his wiring overheated, and he melted. Make an ashtray out of Little Robo, maybe. I mean, this this is too much, man. This is really bent. Really, really bent. Meanwhile, in America, who will win the presidency? Will it be Hillary Clinton or will it be Donald Trump? Well, whoever it is, maybe we do need a robo. Maybe we ought to run a robo. Maybe we ought to start a robo militia. I still like the idea of dropping frozen turkeys on the local city council chambers better. But who knows? You know. And then they're going to robo the military, and they're going to robo the police force. And, you know, I don't know, you know, how you bring a robo to court for assaulting you. You can't bring the police really to court for assaulting you now, so I doubt you're going to be able to bring the robots. And, of course, they'll have laws, and the robots will be given personhood because, well, they're fictional, so they're actually the very same as we are because humans are fictional entities and robots are fictional entities. And, you know, if this is the future people want, then have it. Me, not so much. And I intend to spend the rest of my days doing whatever I can do to help people understand what the hell's taking place here. Now here's the silly thing. This is MSN News this is on, actually. Somebody sent it to me. And here's number 14, whatever this means, top 12 stories. I have no idea what this is. I don't go to MSN. But there's a thing here. Who knew Canada has Thanksgiving too? Well, I knew that. Who didn't know that? Here we have a North American Union flag. We have the United States melded with the Canadian flag and some young woman holding it up. Amy Dickerson for the New York Times. Catherine Borrell, a television writer in Los Angeles who grew up in Toronto and Quebec City, holding a flag she has that's a mashup of the Canadian and American flags. Okay, see how they're melding us together here, folks? Most of the year, Canadians living in the United States look, talk, and act so much like their neighbors that their nationality draws no attention at all. Autumn is a season of danger, though, when the mask of assimilation can be ripped off, forcing some Americans to face the unnerving, fleeting realization that Canada is an entirely different country. All it takes is one mention of Canadian Thanksgiving. The first reaction is typically laughter, ha ha ha, as if there was another fine example of Canadian sense of humor. Then comes disbelief. Finally, when it emerges that the holiday is celebrated on the second Monday of October, there may be suspicion that on the other side of the border, time does not behave in the same way. It tends to domino into other big holidays, says Catherine Borrell, television writer in Los Angeles who grew up in Toronto, Quebec City, yada, yada, yada. They're really carefully ask you, do you celebrate Christmas on the same day? Do you celebrate Easter? You can see it messing with their paradigm, like if Thanksgiving is different, what else is different? A state of total innocence about Canadian Thanksgiving is easy to maintain in the United States, where the holiday gets about as much attention as the half-birthday of the youngest child in a family of 12. For one thing, it happens on Columbus Day, so eyebrows are not necessarily raised if someone slips back into Saskatoon to spend the weekend with the family. For another, the vast Thanksgiving industrial complex keeps a conspiracy of silence about the existence of a parallel harvest dinner outside the United States. Taste of Home, the American food magazine with large circulation, said it has never run any articles about the Canadian holiday, although it has published Thanksgiving recipes from Canadian readers. Damn, I didn't know this was a thing, said Hunter Lewis, the editor-in-chief of Cooking Light, a food magazine with the second largest circulation. After some research, Mr. Lewis wrote back to confirm that his magazine has never covered the holiday either. nor has bon appetit, according to the spokesman. The turkey fatigue, a notorious affliction among food editors, may be partly to blame. It's bad enough to having to go do Thanksgiving over and over every year. Who edited the Gourmet from 19 to 209, wrote in an email, "We never touched a second Thanksgiving, and if these magazines had asked their stringers to hunt down Thanksgiving dishes in Calgary and Toronto, they would have found the recipes on Cannedly Familiar." Yada, 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 yada. This is what they plug on MSN, right? This is an MSN story. Trump's implosion. While I'm here, I'm just going to look at that. I don't know that I don't recall ever being to MSN News. I really don't recall ever being to this site. This is not what I do. I was up last night after trying to get a hold of Professor Hall after the show last night, after midnight. I ended up reading Voltaire and some of this other shit till like 3:30 in the morning. So this is kind of a treat for me today to go to SMN News. Donald Trump's implosion over the weekend was long time coming. Now, what did he implode this time? I don't care. Trump went way off script. Oops. Comments she made months ago about some of Bernie Sanders' millennial supporters. And I miss Bernie Sanders so much. That's the only thing that really made me smile about the American election. Bernie Sanders, a total idiot. They're all idiots. They're all puppets. They'll say whatever they're told to say, whatever the script tells them to say, although Trump apparently fell off script. Because I miss Bernie, because I don't know, he's such a pathetic little character, and I miss that from the crowds. Bernie, I miss that. I don't know why, but I do. I wouldn't want this son of a bitch to look after my cat, or I wouldn't want Trump or Hillary Clinton to look after my cat either. But there was just something about Bernie. It was like a cartoon character or something, although they're all like cartoon characters, because that's what they are, little cartoon characters. So that's MSN. This is what people see when they go to MSN News, isn't it? A man has been charged with wearing clear plastic. That comes right after Robot Baby. Now, I don't know, that may be, I know we have Turkey Day on different days between the United States and Canada, but I didn't know that we had a law here about wearing plastic. No, this is New Jersey. I'll have to look into the Canadian laws. Police say 59-year-old man who wore a bikini fashioned out of see-through plastic wrap on a New Jersey beach is facing a criminal charge. They say Stephen Wojciechowski has spent 2 days on a Long Island beach wearing a homemade bikini in which his genitals were clearly exposed and was charged with lewdness. New Jersey Com reports the Stratford Township man was arrested Monday and was released pending further court proceedings. A woman who answered the phone at his house said nobody's here and hung up. It's unclear if he has an attorney who could comment on his behalf. Now, this is important news, I guess. Actually, this has a Canadian Press logo beside it. That's weird. But anyways, this is the kind of garbage that apparently people read. Oh, I see. We have Parliament Hill and the U.S. election. Canada, world, local. Well, why wouldn't I go to MSN News? Vancouver councillor called to resign after Chinese flag raising. Well, several years back, they put a big stainless steel bust of Lenin and a small Mao on its head. So it's not surprising that they're raising the Chinese flag here now. Bill Blair, the former top cop in charge of Canada's marijuana file. That's always good news. Politics not for the faint of heart, says retired Lieutenant General turned MP. Well, no, but you got to be a good liar. Compare and contrast Trudeau and Harper at the UN. No difference. They both are treasonous dogs. There's nothing there. U.S. election, 2016. It doesn't really tell me anything. What's the top stories? But people read this shit and then they discuss it. Man kills self to elude allegedly inhumane, shoddy Montreal hospital. Well, that's interesting. That's one way to get out of the hospital. Cans banned at Jays game after some sports reporter supposedly fired a beer can at somebody. But reading this, you would never know anything about what's going on anywhere. Nope, you wouldn't. They're going to give us a 30 most deadly hurricanes. Men say Trump's remarks are beyond the pale. No, I don't know what that's about. I don't, it's amazing what I don't look at now that I'm looking at this stuff. Men's remarks on sex and women are beyond the pale. That some men talk crudely sometimes about sex and women's anatomies comes as news to few people who have gone through puberty, but the graphic talk by Donald J. Trump, including boasts about groping women that was revealed on Friday in a video recorded in 2005, is something else, according to men of different ethnic, racial, economic, and religious backgrounds from different parts of the world. In interviews on Saturday, they differed on how often men talk graphically about women in terms of sexual conquest or desired body parts from those who said that they had never heard it, to some who considered it fairly common. But they agreed that Mr. Trump's 11-year-old comments went well beyond what they're used to hearing. I've been around a lot of very religious people who, especially like my father, who would never talk like that, said Douglas E. Lau, an East Texas Republican who expressed dismay at the recording, but said he still planned to vote for Mr. Trump. He said he doubted that was how the man who go to his Baptist church would talk. Huh? Some men use crude language, then again, so do women, said Lau, 63, a lawyer and former district attorney, but he said of Mr. Trump, I don't think he gets a pass. It kind of shows his character. Romerico Lewis, 32, who works as at a concession stand at Wrigley Field in Chicago, said it was not uncommon to hear men use graphic language about women, even just walking down the street. Dick Ewan, a prominent Houston lawyer, said he's no stranger to hearing and even using graphic talk about sex. I don't know what that's even about. Apparently, Mr. Trump said some shit that he should have not said, but again, nothing there has anything whatsoever to do with anything. It must be 1:30, almost. Christopher.
Hey, bud.
You got your turkey?
Actually, we can't afford that. The prices are high right now, so we got chicken.
I was pleased to say...
But it tastes the same.
Well, it does, actually.
Kinda.
Sorta. You make gravy out of both of them.
At least nobody is cooking duck today.
No,
Well,
duck
maybe
gets
a couple
cooked
people
tomorrow
are.
night, right?
What?
Duck gets cooked tomorrow night.
Oh. Was there a show I'm supposed to be on or something?
Well, no, aren't you playing at the Jailhouse Blues concert tomorrow night?
Oh yeah. Tomorrow night, 8:00. Yeah.
Yeah, so the concert down at the local center there, and I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah. There's a couple of people that are going cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
That'd be your prison industrial complex for one, and and then you got your judge and
they
your
should really
prosecutor.
have. Should they not have a till at the gate when you go in there? Tomorrow night, 8:00. Chris is back. Cha-ching!
Yeah.
Excellent. Would you like a receipt for that, sir? I mean,
I'm just doing my job.
well, it's a
But I love it.
Yeah, it's a
And I can own you, Allie.
and this is how much you brought in today.
Yeah.
Thank you for your contribution, my friend.
If people could only understand
If they could only
that concept, what's, is what you've been describing, and you describe in all your shows. We could turn this around tomorrow, but nope. There's one city. I heard there's one city in the United States that they're like 90% government employees.
Oh yeah.
How in the hell can that happen?
Well, they can't get what they want if they have independent labor. The whole idea.
But who pays for that 90%?
They just print it. But then it goes on the debt. And then they call the debt. And then you're on a guaranteed income. And such is life, right? But that was funny. I was talking to that Anthony Hall, the professor today, this morning for a bit. And he said he'd come on the show Tuesday probably. I have to talk to him again. But it freaked me out, right? Like he says, like, I'm driving down the road right now. I'm on the road. And I said, well, that's nice. He said, but you don't understand. I got a cell phone to my ear. And I go, yeah. Well, it's illegal. I go, oh, well, not really. Well, yeah, it's illegal. Well, yeah, but it's not lawful, right? It's not unlawful. And he goes, well, it's illegal here. Where are you from? I said, Ontario. He says, well, is it legal there? Can you drive with a cell phone? And I said, no, because they give you a ticket. It's just revenue stream shit. But here's a guy that's getting hauled up. He lost his job. He's a professor of 20 years. He's got the Jews after his ass now. And he's concerned about breaking the law because he's driving while he's talking on the phone. And I thought, wow, this is sad, So I hope we get him on. He's supposed to come on the show Tuesday, maybe Thursday, but it's supposed to be Tuesday. I think it'll be really interesting because he's got some. I don't get what he's up to here because he's.
Where's he from again? What's he do for a living?
He's a professor. He was a professor at for 20 years at the University of Lethbridge.
Oh, okay.
So somebody left a post on his Facebook that was calling the Jews kites or something, and some guy from the B'nai B'rith or whatever they call that, ADL I call it, I guess, same thing, called him out. And went to the university and wanted him removed because, although he didn't make the post about the kites, he didn't remove it from his Facebook page. So it's some sort of responsibility there. I don't remove stuff.
Apparently.
Put on. I call it free speech. You say whatever the hell you want. If I don't like it, I'll tell you to piss off. But I'll leave it there. And so they went after him and then this guy called the police on him, and said it was a hate crime or something. So they threw him out of the university because his Jewish outfit was freaking out. So, but he, you know what he said, you know, he was calling, I guess he does his show False Flag Radio or something with these guys. I watched one episode of it. And, you know, he's basically saying that 9/11 was a inside Israel job, right? Mossad or whatever, Mossad or whatever you call Mossad. And
surprise, surprise.
And so that's a problem apparently. But then he kind of gets kind of weird after that, and that's why I want him on the show, because he's gone about, you know, this.
You need to clarify
what
a few issues with him, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I want to talk to him again before we do the show, but I still want to do the show with him because there's a lot of confusion out there, right? And one of the things,
and that's what's stopping real things from happening. Is there's so many shows and so many people doing shows and so many people telling you things that don't correlate with what's really going on.
Well, see, there's a lot of guys.
I feel like even Clint Richardson is trying to explain to people, and Hal Anthony are trying to explain to people. You know, there's thousands and thousands now of radio hosts, like the Alex Jones types, variations of.
Can you hold on a second, Chris?
I want to keeping you dizzy.
Chris, I don't mean to butt into you, but I have a new product I wish to push on the people. Oh no, wrong show. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's you know, we got to start narrowing this down. Like I know who I listen to, and even the shows that I've been dedicated to listening to, I am now not listening to anymore because I realized I've been scammed. Well, you know, and whether they know it or not. I mean, I've got a very popular show I call into, I contribute to, and they're promoting Donald Trump. They're pushing him big time. They even actually put out their own advertisement to have people elect him as your next president if you're in the United States.
Yeah, you know this is controlled op.
And I went, whoa, the bus here. Come on. Wait. Maybe I'm not paying attention.
How can you possibly take yourself as a serious radio show host if you're promoting someone in this election? As soon as you promote anybody in this election, you either show...
They put out a freaking ad to promote them.
Yeah, but you either show you're an idiot or you're a player. One of the two. And if you're an idiot, we ought not to be listening to you. And if you're a player, we ought to be calling your ass out. It's that simple. That's my attitude. Right? Yeah. There's no excuses. Right? Get on track.
We all gotta. What we gotta do is sharpen our pencils and start thinking.
That's the whole.
And pay attention
and ask questions. Right? You know, like you know, it's. But this professor, because he says Israel blew up the towers or was involved in it in order to give the Muslims a hard time. So I'm trying to figure out this guy's...
I don't know what that means.
It throws me because I'm trying to figure out this guy's part of the Muslim propaganda movement, right? There's something stinky going on here. And so hopefully I get him on the show and we get it straightened out. Maybe he just doesn't quite get what he's talking about. Or he's confused, but I want him on the show so that we can get through this stuff. Because if you're anti-Israel and anti-Jew, then you must be anti-Muslim because it's the Israel and the Jews that are bringing the Muslims in. So you can't be pro-Muslim and anti-Israel. You can't do it. You know, not unless you're totally confused, and he may be. I mean, he's basically quarantined in this university, and you know what goes on in the universities, right? So he may just need... I did give him the the link to the League of Nations search engine and told him to go look up the B'nai B'rith there, which are in that. And he was kind of excited about going to that particular site. And because
it sounds to me like he's in a learning curve himself.
That's what I think.
Nothing wrong with that.
I think so. I mean, but
I used to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah, that didn't last long on my site. I mean, I put him up because I didn't know who the hell he was when I first put my blog up. I put Alex Jones up there, and a couple of weeks I think he was there, and I'd just go listen once in a while, and it didn't take long. Like within 2 weeks, I think that was off my site. Right? Who is this dick? This is the guy everybody's listening to. People ain't thinking very clearly.
Well, that's the point. Now, again, I have to go back to what Clinton was talking about on Shawley's show. I don't know for new listeners if they listen to that or not, but there's a show before yours that is pretty cool, and everybody should listen in.
We have some good shows on this network.
But he played a song by Rush, really bad version. Quality wise was really bad, but he played a song called Subdivisions,
right?
And by Rush, okay, which a Canadian band, by the way.
You're here.
They kind of say that in the song that, like, you know, you can listen to like a major player. And then it gets subdivided into smaller ones, and then it gets subdivided to the point where you're hearing so much truth, but you're getting that poison is being added in each level to a degree, and it's the poison that kills you. And it's a really cool song, and it
takes very little poison. Right? You know,
yeah, well, you know,
a drop of
poison. Like Eldon Warman. I wish we could get him on your show. You know, that's what he used to say to me. He said, Chris, all it takes is like 5% poison.
Yeah. And, you know, but
so that's what we got to watch for. And that's difficult. I'll tell you why. Because that confuses people as well, because everybody's looking for the poison.
Well,
they're not, you know.
It takes a bit of doing, and that's why I was saying last night that I'd like to see the people just, you know, start up little neighborhood clubs and call them research clubs or call them whatever they want to call them, to teach each other so that they can see and understand. You'd be called a terrorist. Well, that they can see and understand what they're actually seeing and reading, and understand the wording and the use of the wording and why they use that wording, you know, then they don't get the poison. They're not susceptible to the poison anymore, right? They won't argue. The poison's very powerful. You know, I don't know how many people I say, you know, they say, well, I'll point something out that somebody's been listening to or something, and they'll say, well, yeah, I get that, but I'll let that go because the other stuff's pretty true. Well, wait a minute. You're accepting the poison. You're making excuses for the poison. You know, if this one that's telling you this stuff doesn't know he's telling you poison, and you can see the poison and you're letting the poison go and this guy off the hook or this gal off the hook, and you're listening to these people and ignoring the poison even though you see the poison, now you're making excuses for the one that's spewing the poison at you. That makes no sense. Get away from them. You know, most people don't even need to listen to radio shows. All they really need to do is simply, would I add you in a couple of minutes? In a couple of minutes? Okay, because we got about, what do we got here? About 40 minutes left in the no, we got 20 minutes left in the show. So if you want in, Vince, you best get in quick.
Vince!
Let me know.
Get in!
Exactly when you want in here. Now, I have somebody in here.
That's that guy that has an Arkansas, Texas, Ukrainian-type accent guy, isn't it?
No, that's the Muslim from Texas, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that.
Well, Vince, Easley's a Muslim name, right?
Don't piss him off, Ron. He'll cut you off. He has the power.
I cut you up good, boy. He knows I'm just joking. No, he's a good boy. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what he's up to. I just got.
You were supposed to be on one of his shows, actually.
I tried. I couldn't get in. No how. I don't know what.
I think you chickened out.
Vince is coming in. Let's bring him in here. I didn't again touch what I wanted to talk about, but I do ask people to go look up the Melbourne principles, please, and that will get you to ICLEI, and that will get you to a whole bunch of other stuff that you ought to know what's going on, and most people don't. So look up, or I may will put a link to it in here before we're done. Anyways, Vince, how are you? Vince? Hello? Where'd he go?
I told you, don't piss him off.
What the hell happened there? How come I didn't? He was in here. Now I got him. Now he's not being coming in here. What the hell's going on? Here, okay, let me try it this way. No, that ain't going to work. Add to group call. What is going on with Vince? It was his show I was supposed to be on, right?
Yeah.
And I
ended up babbling through it.
I could not get into it, and I'm trying to get Vince in here now, and I can't get him in. Oh, it's a conspiracy, I tell you. What the hell's going on with this? I brought him in. He came in, and then he disappeared, and now I'm trying to bring him in.
That's what Vince was doing with you.
Like it says he's added here.
Maybe he don't want you guys talking.
What the hell is going on? Is this some sort of deal going on or what? Add me up. I did. And that's too weird. I don't know if I'm going to blow. I don't want to do that because I could blow us off the air. I could try one of these phone numbers, but I don't know if that's going to blow us off the air or not. I don't understand this. I could.
Oh well.
I don't know, Vince. I'm pulling you in here. I pulled you in. It says you were added, and unless you want me to.
Okay, you know what, Ron?
No, he's got it too. He just wrote me. It says I'm added here. It says you're added. It says on mine you're added, but you're not in here. And there you are. Let's try that. And we got you, Vince. Hello, Vince.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay. I added
the Vincinator.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing so much I may go kill this. Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we got you. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm trying to kill this player. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right.
Give me just a second.
Well, just don't kill it. Just choke it into submission. That'll be better.
Okay, I think I've got my player killed here.
Okay, so we are trying up here in Canada to be the hate crime capital of the world. Apparently, these things are flying around pretty quick now. We got mayors wanting people thrown in jail for hate crimes, and professors being thrown out of universities for hate crimes. I love it.
I'm gonna exit out. I'll reopen you, see why here in just a minute. Hey, Ron. Hey, Ducky. Good to talk to you guys.
There you are.
Hey.
How are you keeping?
Pretty good. I've been ported maple syrup into my computer over here, so it moves pretty slow. You know how laid back is everything else is up yonder there in the great Canuck land. So the reason I'm calling, though, is I'm going to have to lay this challenge down with Ducky here. We're going to have to get this going. Reiki 2. Now, this Friday we're going to do a test. Atrax and I are going to do a test using this. So, if you'll download Reiki 2, it's RAKETU. Ducky, you and Ron, if you can get that installed on your computer. Now, Hal, I got it on my other computer over here and it worked. Last time you and I tried to use it, my end was cutting out. So I've got good quality on this other computer, but so we can get Ron and Hal together. We've been trying to do this for a long time, Ducky, so I'm putting a challenge on you.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
So you think we got something we can use now?
Yes.
That would be marvelous.
If you'll go to your search engine and type in RAKETU and download that program, and Duck, if you'll inbox me when you and Ron get that installed, and then I'll get you connected in contacts with Hal and myself there. I'll give you the
send that through Skype, bud, because like I am speaking here, but I'm also doing other things, and
okay.
I don't have a pen and paper, so just
Okay,
send that to me on
right.
Skype if you could, bud.
You bet. I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to go wrangle it up, and I'll bring it back to you guys. Okay.
All right.
But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to jump in here and let's get this put together.
Yeah, let's do that exactly.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, here we are. Here, I got it.
Thanks, Vince.
I got it here, Doc.
Okay.
Here, I'll send you the link. We rake 'em, bringing simplicity to complex encryption messenger software, creating the first truly secure and private real-time communications, group chats, photo, video sharing, location sharing, voice, and video. Because I'm going to check this out because I'm getting kind of tired of Skype. I don't like the idea that Gates or Microsoft owns this thing now.
Are you getting, or I wonder if anybody else is getting, because I've got Start Page, right? When I boot up my computer, I've got my regular Microsoft, whatever, Yahoo, whatever, MSM page, and then I got Start Page beside it. Well, my MSM page keeps saying that Microsoft wants to update my terms and conditions. Are you getting that, or is there anybody else getting that, I wonder?
On Skype?
Because I just shut it down. I just close it.
Oh, I don't know.
I close it, and I go to Start Page, and there's nothing on, because Start Page protects you from that, because they can't find you, right?
Yeah, well, I just put that link that Vince.
You're not getting it?
I get so much shit flying at me, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but this happens every time now. Like, this has only been the last 3 days I've been getting this.
Yeah.
Microsoft is saying we want to update, which is dangerous because
I know. I mean,
well, no. What they're going to do is they change your computer. You go to Windows 10, and I've been avoiding that.
I am still running
forever.
I was talking to Kathy yesterday, and I said, oh look, I got a notice here that Microsoft will no longer be updating. I forgot what the hell's it called? my Microsoft system starting in July of 2014, right? Because I still have XP on my computer, and Kathy's going, "You still got XP, you lucky dog." And yeah, I don't. I when I bought this computer, I told them put XP on it or piss off, right? And they said we don't do that anymore. Well, you got a copy, stick it on, right? Now there's some things that it doesn't work as well as it could, but XP to me is still my old system, and it's always worked well for me. I've never had any real problems with it.
The thing with XP, from my understanding, my main computer, which I don't use anymore, it runs the other computers basically. It's on XP Pro,
mm-hmm.
And as long as I have a VAST, and that's the way it was explained to me, as long as I have a VAST, it will keep it clean and,
Oh,
and it'll
mine's
keep
clean.
it running.
Mine's clean. I got all the things running here. It's
Well, what are
clean.
you
It's
using
just,
for antivirus?
they don't update it anymore, right? So
That's what I'm saying.
like
but
so a lot of
Avast will keep it
programs-
going for you.
No,
If
it's
you
not
don't-
that. It's not that. But the newer programs, some of the newer programs they don't make to run on XP anymore, right? Because it's kind of a dead system now. Because Microsoft's not updating it, then the newer computer programs they're going, what's the point of making it for XP? Because people have moved up from there, right? But as far as a stable operating system goes, it's fantastic. It's
Yeah, well, if you have if like some people got duped into going to Windows 10, they're totally messed up. Or you had that 8 or 8.1. I guess 8.1 is supposed to be better than Windows 8.
Yeah.
I'm not really technically intelligent when it comes to computers. I like to just turn it on and then just go where I want to go, kind of thing. But Windows 10 is very dangerous, and the new update they want you to have.
Well, you know,
will take you to Windows 10,
what they're doing with these
which is a mess, which means it's more government surveillance, makes it easier on them to do that.
All they're doing with the computers is they're basically moving the computers up to the place from Winston from 1984. Okay, he can't even have any privacy in his own apartment because they have the big screen TV there, which is a two-way game now. And he's got to go hide in a little cubbyhole corner in his apartment to get out of the vision of that screen. And basically, that's all Windows 10 and shit. I mean, they're just moving it that direction, right? They want the new appliances. The reason they make appliances only last 7 years now is so they can keep upgrading them and keep putting new computer chips in them, so that your fridge will say, Doc, you need to go to this store and get milk. The transit system will arrive in front of your home in approximately 2.5 minutes. Please put your boots on. It's a little cool. Wear a coat and possibly a hat. And this is where they're trying to take us to, right?
It's a true story, and that's where they are taking us to.
Yeah, and shove off.
We all chat and we talk, and we can't forget this. We got to keep our eye on the ball here. This is what it's coming down to, and they're pushing it fast and furious. Like you were talking about adequate. It's the same deal, bud.
Well, yeah, people,
all right. Well, you got enough water, do you? And here's your adequate water. And if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And if you use more, shut you down.
See, I just got from Merbailey. Your appliances last 7 years, 5 here if we're lucky. I don't know where Merbailey's at, but I mean, and it's in all the UN documents. Not all of them, but I mean, we've been through enough of their documents that we see the exact same thing. And the idea is that they keep upgrading us. In other words, they keep making our stuff to last as long as they want it to last until they figure they have their next upgrade to put into it. And then what we purchase, they talk about sustainability, but what they're doing is they're building stuff to last less and less time all the time so they can keep upgrading us to our proper slavery level. You just don't want to go there. We don't want to go there, and we don't have to go there. That's the
Ron. I'm going to tell you. Like I'm doing weekends in jail time.
No, you're doing weekdays. Remember?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing weekdays. But they call it weekends. Okay, that's what the court calls it. Is you're doing weekends, so you can still.
Am I still Guy? Where'd you go? What the hell's going on here? Are you still there, Duck? What happened there? Anyways, we seem to have lost. He's there. You there, Chris? Seem to have lost him somehow. He's there, but I don't hear him, which kind of sucks. But yeah, it's we just, we can beat these guys. It's very, very simple to beat them. Vehicles been made remote controllable since 2004, not an option, or on the bill of sale. Exactly. We're trying to run older vehicles. I've got my pickup truck is an 80, I can't remember what year is that, 85, 86 Ford F-150. And it's way easy to work on. And I've had that truck for frickin' ever. And I've gone through so many cars. Chris's control officer just cut off his internet. Yeah, it could be. Could be. I don't know what happened to him. Says he's online, but he's not there. No, he wouldn't hit the mute button. I don't think Chris knows where that mute button's at. No, it says, sorry, I just got cut off. Now, why is the question. Could be because he lives in Kingston. Could be because he talks about the disintegration of his neighborhood. Could be he may not get a pillow this week in jail. Who knows? But anyways, whatever. He's fine. He said, you still are still there. Yeah, I'm still here. And he's still on, so I don't know why he can't speak. But anyways, I just want to put this link in here before we run out of time, which I was going to talk about, but we'll get to it sometime. And that's the Melbourne that Kathy sent me, the Melbourne Principles. And it's very good because this is just the Wikipedia site, or the Wikipedia part on the Melbourne Principles, but I don't use Wikipedia all the time, but there are times that I use Wikipedia because Wikipedia tends to dump a lot of links in, which saves a certain amount of time rooting around. But the fact of it is, I'll just read this real quick. I got a minute. The Melbourne Principles for Sustainable Cities are 10 short statements on how cities can become more sustainable. They were developed in Melbourne, Australia, on April the 2nd, 2002, during an international charrette sponsored by the United Nations Environmental Program, which is UNEP, which was started by Maurice Strong, and our Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, who sits as Queen, Elizabeth Dowdeswell, was also head of UNEP, and so we are being shoved on real hard here. The enemy is inside the gates, make no mistake about it. So we're going to just stick that into the chat. Add Chris back in here if you can get in here. You back, Chris?
I got cut off.
Yes, you did. That's because you are a danger to not society, but to the enemy, which is already inside the gates. So anyways, here's a link to the Melbourne Principles. Everybody should look at it. I see Hal's in here. I thank Hal for all the hard work he does, and I'm looking forward to getting a round table with everybody here, hopefully with this new system we're going to get. And I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody in the chat as always, and I want to just mention that Hal is on deck at 3 o'clock. Tune it in. And I'm going to go and get cleaned up now, and then I'm going to go eat some turkey.
Well, at least it's not duck.
Okay, we're out of time. Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back in